Welcome to the Shine Seeker Show, the podcast where strategy and soul come together, because the best business plan in the world can't do its job if you don't believe you're worth building it. I'm your host, Katie-Beth Schultz, founder of the Sunburst Strategies Co. and your Shine strategist. Every week, we're going from scattered to strategic with real conversations, real marketing strategy, and honest moments that remind you are already worthy of the shine you're seeking. Let's get into it. So, you're on Instagram and you're scrolling through and you see someone with the polished content. So, it's the content that you're like, wow, that's so pretty. It's the aesthetic that just looks clean and beautiful and simple. It makes a huge impact. And you're thinking, oh, I know that they have a team behind that. And they may be completely open about that too. Like, oh, we have a team behind us and we have our own marketers and blah, blah, blah. And you look at that and something happens within you. And if you're anything like me, what happens within you is that you're like, that's so beautiful and I want that. But I know I don't live there yet. I know I don't have the money for that yet. That's the key word here is yet, right? It's not a feeling of shame. It's not a feeling of comparison, but it's a really, really thin line to walk, right? Like, we don't want to fall into that part of like, oh, I want that specific, like exactly like that. No, for me, oh, I see the idea that they're on a schedule, they have a production team, they have a team behind them, they seem to have these systems in place that's allowing them to work in a way that is in a way that I want to work. And it's just this thing of, man, I can't wait for me and my business to have that someday. So what do you do with that gap? The one where it's like, hey, I'm doing the thing and I'm doing it pretty good for now, but it's not finished. I'm not arrived at this place that I think I want to arrive at. That's what I want to talk about today. So in my opinion, online right now, there's no middle ground. Someone either has it completely put together and it looks like a magazine cover or this like beautiful professional team with hair, makeup, production, all the things, right? All the things. Or it's someone acting like a jackass for the algorithm. And you know what I mean? Like, they're like, oh, like I want to make this video to go viral. So I'm going to like do a backflip into, falling down or something. I don't know. In my opinion, it's just like, yeah, you're just trying to grab attention for views, which, to each their own. There's some people that works for them in their business. That's not a way that I love to work. But there's no like middle part. And it's the women that are running businesses in the middle. The ones that are working hard, trying their best to show up and to be real without making a mess, but we don't see a lot of that because that's the really like tough place to be because you're too busy trying to do your best and you don't have the um time or money leverage that you need in order to outsource those type of things so that you can push content out or so that you can create this life and this view and this movie, if you will, online for yourself. But I think that's where a lot of us are. We're somewhere in the middle. We're not, having it so perfectly together, but we're also like not gonna like do whatever it takes to get the views, meaning, do something that's not aligned with your brand, with your voice, with your, ethos. It's something that's so far in left field that you would never do. And I think those of us that are there have a voice and we shouldn't be quiet anymore. And we should speak a little louder and carve out a place for ourselves. So this striving that I'm talking about, this striving of wanting to have more, be more for yourself and your business, that is not coming from a place of unworthiness. That's a whole different topic that we talk about, deal with day in and day out at the Sunburst Strategies Co. And that's not this specific thing we're talking about today. Like this striving for more does not come from that place of unworthiness. It doesn't come from a place of discontentment. It comes from wanting to be the very best version of yourself for everyone that's watching. However, I will also say we're not doing it because of the people that are watching. We're doing it because, for me, I'm doing it for the women that are out there that are struggling with their business. They don't know how to start, where to pivot, where to grow, what to do next. I'm taking them from scattered to strategic in their business. And I'm also doing it for the little girl that's watching, my little girl. I want everyone to see that there is a difference because a lot of women have been told that wanting more is like something icky and something wrong with it, or like, why can't you just be happy with what you have? And this is not that. Ambition rooted in purpose is not the same thing as ambition rooted in fear. It's also not the same thing as ambition for ambition's sake. It's not the same thing as, striving for more just so you can like look fancy or look like you have it all together, where in reality it's all crumbling behind the scenes. Like, I'm talking about this striving coming from a place of, that you have this desire placed on your heart and you just want to fulfill that calling on your life and in your heart. And what that calling and what that desire is forcing you to grow as a person, to grow as a business owner, a mom, a wife, a sister, a niece, an aunt, like whatever it is. It's just wanting to fulfill that desire and calling on your life. And that's always going to push you to the next level, because that desire and calling on your life is not placed there so that you can feel comfortable. It's not placed there because you're ready for it today. And it's not placed there because you can make it happen by yourself or overnight. I think if we all really get in tune with what it is that's within us, that shine that we're seeking, if we can define that and get really clear on what that is, it is always going to be from a place of growth and wanting to get closer and closer to the sun. So here's the problem that I face with that. And I wonder if you felt the same way. How do I hold I'm grateful for today. How do you hold that while also holding, but I'm not done yet. I've not arrived yet. But again, it's not from this place of, but like, because today everything sucks or everything around me sucks or I hate everything and everyone. Like, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about how can you have gratefulness alongside ambition and how do you balance it all? And I don't have the answer to that, quite honestly. I mean, this is something that I have dealt with my entire life. Even from the time I was a little kid, I can remember like my mom tells me this story and likes to talk about it, and I think I've talked about it maybe on another episode about the kindergarten teacher that told my mom like she wants to be the best, she wants to be the one, she wants to be the top all the time. And on one hand, my parents are like, "Oh, that's great." And then on the other hand, and what the teacher then said to her, like, "That's great, but she's got to, like, be okay with not always being where she wants to be, without always being number 1." And so, again, I think it's like, what I'm trying to work out is that it's this healthy competition within yourself. Like, who better to be in competition with than yourself? I think that's the only one that we can be in competition with when you really get down to it, when it comes down at the end of the day. And so I think that's the competition within yourself, is that you want to always continue to be grateful, but then you also always want to be ambitious for the thing that's coming next. And if you're anything like me, it can be a tough place to be. Because it does. I mean, even in our marriage, like, we've had this conversation of, well, are you content? Can you be content? And it's not this, well, I'm sure there are times where it does need to get called out, and I do need to be content with some things, but I think, it's not coming from this place of like, yeah, I'm chilling. Like, even in the word, I'm gonna say the word, I'm talking about the Bible. Even in scripture, being a follower of Christ and being a Christian, it talks about not staying where you are. And it talks about continuing that growth of what has been called upon your life, and for being more like Jesus, and for being a better person. I mean, I think it's inherently like programmed into our DNA as human beings that we have this inner conflict and we have this inner turmoil that we've got to work on every day and figure out how to grapple with. I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful, but also I'm not finished and I'm not going to stay here in this place because I have somewhere else to go next. I think the answer maybe to this inner conflict and inner turmoil is when I think out loud about it, I think it's a place of having these habits and routines and anchors throughout your daily life. And not only day to day, but on a quarterly basis, an annual basis. You know, certain traditions, customs, holidays, whatever it is, I think there's these like milestones and also maybe even some guardrails that you put in place in your life so that you can stop and be grateful for the now and celebrate the now and celebrate when you do go on that ambitious journey and accomplish something. I think that needs to be celebrated too, because then you take a moment to be grateful instead of always like, all right, well, check that off the list. Now it's on to the next thing. So, quite honestly, I think that's why it's incredibly important to do things intentionally, to have a plan and plan on purpose. I think that when you have these plans in place, then you're not worried, oh, am I doing enough? You're not worried of, oh, I should have worked longer or harder today. You have a goal and you have that goal set out 6 months from now. Okay, then we work backwards, break it down as much as we possibly can. Let's say we can break it down then into 2 different goals. So then we have 2 milestones, then into 4. Then we have it into 6 even. And then we think about what we can do on a weekly and a daily basis in order to get there. And so I think that's one of the hidden powers too, and hidden secrets that nobody talks about is the power of planning and the power of being intentional, because then you get to still live and enjoy your life instead of working hours upon hours upon hours upon hours, you know, and not having a sense of boundaries or balance. And that's a whole nother conversation. But the point, what I'm trying to say is that that's where the gratitude and the ambition can coexist, and they can lie parallel to one another, because you have set this goal out, to go back to our example of 6 months, and you're working your tail off to get there, but you've already done the work and laid the plan out, right? And so you know that, oh, if I do X amount today, and then tomorrow I'm going to do X amount. So when I've done X amount today, then I can be done and I can be thankful and I can be grateful and I can celebrate today instead of worrying about tomorrow. And then on the same note, I would say that if you don't get X done today, I'm in a season right now where I'm actively doing this to help expand the Sunburst family of companies. And I've literally done this. I have a end date of what I need to do to get done so that I can announce it, so that I can get it up and going and tell all of you about it, and start having revenue from that piece. But I have that date set, and I worked backward and said, okay, this is what I got to do every day to get there. Does it happen every single day? Do I go from A to Z and get that chunk done that I want to? No, because I'm also actively running the business. I'm actively a mom. I'm actively a wife. Um, it's summertime. So our schedules are a little crazy. Like it's not as consistent as a school year is. And so um you just have to make that choice every day of like, okay, what can I give today? If today, needs to be have something give, or okay, do I stop right here and then this little baby chunk that I didn't get through today, I'm going to tack it on to tomorrow's, and then I'll know, and like, I'm going to be happy with that and make that choice and decision instead of beating yourself up of, oh, I wasn't ambitious enough today. No, absolutely not. And I think there's different seasons of this too, about your level of ambition and your level of not gratefulness, but I would say, we do need to bring contentment into the conversation, I think, because again, it's like if you've accomplished this thing at the end of the year, right now we're in year 2026. So if I've done it to the end of the year 2026, then I'm going to celebrate that and be thankful and grateful for that. To say I get that goal completed, maybe I get it done early in October, or maybe I get it done on time in October because I set myself up and I wanted to, be fully immersed in the holidays or something like that. Like, then let's be happy about that. Right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I have this extra time, let's like pack this in. However, maybe you are in a season where you do need to pack it in if you got something finished earlier than anticipated. Or maybe you're in a season where, like right now, in the Summer Strategies Co., I'm in a season with when I hit that date, y'all. I mean, it's going to be hit the ground running in a different kind of way than the work that is happening right now in order to get to that milestone of being able to share about the expansion that we're working on. And y'all, I am going to be like, hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. We made it through. We got it done. And I'm going to be grateful and happy and content with that. Okay. Are there about 300 million other things that I want to get done and that we have started within the Sunburst Strategies Co. and that we've had to kind of shift our focus and say, well, we're actually going to put a pause on this over here so that we can work on this part of this expansion over here. We're going to backseat that until this time because this other thing is more important. Yeah, we've had to do that. So I am making the choice to reach that goal of that completion date that I have for myself and say, hey, it's done. Now let's rock this. Let's rock it out the rest of the year. And we might do one or two more things. But the point of the story and the moral of the story is to allow them meaning ambition and gratefulness, and then a little bit of contentment. Don't get too comfortable there though. To coexist together, run parallel together. And we do that with the intentionality of planning on purpose. So let me give you an example here of maybe what this could look like in practice. So for me, oh my gosh, it's so vulnerable right now. I am incredibly overweight for me right now. This season of life that we have lived since COVID, really, since 2020, has been incredibly chaotic. Um, it's been brilliantly beautiful. There's been high highs, there's been low lows. It has been a roller coaster. And y'all, let me tell you something. I think when people talk about, getting married and doing life with someone, and it's like, oh, for better, for worse. Y'all, we have lived for better in this last 5 years, and we have lived for worse in this 5 years. And we've had some come to Jesus meetings where we're like, thank God you are the one that I went through this with. We might have not known that at the time, but I think in hindsight, when we have the opportunity to look back on our family's life over the last 5 years, well, I guess it's really 6 years now. We're in 2026. We're like, wow, we made it through. So anyways, all that to say is I have allowed myself to become incredibly unhealthy. I'm in this unhealthy place physically. I have worked really hard. We've moved to states, moved across states. We've been through it. We've been through life. None of that's an excuse, because people go through life and they take care of themselves. And I haven't. And that's a choice that I've made. And so right now, and I wonder if any of you listening can relate, I have to, and I actively try to do this, I've got to be in a place where I can be grateful for this body that the Lord has given me and what it looks like and feels like today, versus the ambition I have for not getting my body back. Because, y'all, I am a 35-year-old woman that's had a little girl that, as a professional company dancer and my 20s, grew up dancing. I lived this, athlete life, and then trying to figure out what we call like a normal person life looks like, and mom and run, like, that's crazy. I don't want to, look or feel or treat my body the way that I did back in my 20s. I want to have a healthy, strong body. And so I have this ambition to work towards the health of my body, which is incredibly important to all of these other things that we're trying to do and accomplish in our life and our businesses. So how do I do that? So when I do make the choice to go work out, when I do make the choice to go on a walk, when I make the choice to go to our wellness room that we have in the house, and we have one of the sauna pods, like the pop-up sauna, and when I sweat it out, when I spend time with the Lord, when I get on the vibration plate, when I make these choices, I stop and I'm like, thank God I made that choice today. And then sometimes when I put on something that might not be as comfortable, or what I don't think might be as flattering, or I'm more winded at doing something today than I was maybe even 6 months ago, a year ago, and then further back than that. That's the ambition, that's the fire that gets set under my tail so that I can say, I'm grateful I'm doing this right now, but I know that I can do it even better. And so, do you see that illustration I'm painting right there? Is that, the little baby sliver of contentment is, I did it today. I did it today. I made something happen today. And then it stops. We're not like, and so I can chill forever. No, you made it happen today. That's the contentment part. The gratefulness is like, I'm so glad that I planned for this or that I made this thing happen. And then the ambition piece is, and I know I can do it even better tomorrow or the next day or the next day or however long it takes to reach my goal. What is the shine you're seeking? What is the thing that is keeping you up at night in the absolute best way? What is it that you're working toward, even when it's hard and even when nobody's watching? I think when you get clear on what you know the answer is to what is the shine that you're seeking, that's the place where gratitude and ambition can live together, stop fighting one another, work together to bring you closer and closer and closer to that shine, to that goal, to that thing that you're trying to make happen. If you have ever felt guilty about wanting more when you already have so much, I want you to know that wanting to grow, wanting to seek your shine, wanting to draw closer to the sun and the light, that is not being ungrateful. On the other side of that, I want you to know that if you're running on ambition alone and there's no gratitude, there's no gratefulness, there's nothing anchoring and holding you to that, if there's no connection to why, if there's no connection to the practice of getting to your shine, like what's the whole point of it? Then you're gonna burn out. If it's all about a dollar sign for you, you're going to burn out and it's going to suck. And you're never gonna reach that shine. So it is incredibly, incredibly important that when you're seeking that shine, it is connected to a bigger purpose and a bigger why than you and your bank account. So what do you do today? Today, you define what it is, what's the shine that you're seeking. You do that small thing, you figure that out, and then you build the practice towards seeking your shine. That's it. I will say it is simple, but it is not easy. Because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So, if you need help trying to figure out your next steps in business or your next steps in life even, I want you to go grab the free Shine Strategy Reset. It's going to tell you exactly what it is you're lacking in order to make those next steps in your life and business. And we'll put that link in the show. Okay, I'll leave you with this. So the shine that you're seeking, you're allowed to want it. You're allowed to be hungry and grateful at the same time. That's not a contradiction. It's just who you were made to be. And it's just who you are. I'll see you next time. Shine on.